to my next video. And this video, right, I don't know if you can see that well, probably was a bit of a waste of time, but I'm actually in a tree. I wanted to try and do a video in a tree. See? There's the floor, here's me in the tree. So this video, talking about the negative effects of being a people pleaser, because being a people pleaser is exhausting. Worrying that you might be disliked by other people is a very common thing. It's what all of us do experience. We all want to be liked by people. And I'm not saying for a second that we should actively try to make people or get people to dislike us. Far from. But many of us use so much of our time and our emotional energy to try and persuade people to like us. In changing the way we behave, the way we speak, in changing the things that we choose to talk about. We should stop fretting over the idea of being disliked. Each and every one of us is disliked by someone. And it's usually not because you've directly wronged that person. Some people will just dislike you. Plain and simple. It's starting to rain a little bit and it's getting well windy up here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to be up the tree for much longer. So, tree gate. We're going down the tree. We're going down. Dangerous up there in the old tree. And the idea of being disliked irks us so bad, as it makes us feel like we're losing control over what other people think of us and control over how we are perceived by the world. But changing what other people think is a very hard thing to do, and it's usually impossible once those thoughts are embedded into them. Trying to persuade someone to like you in an indirect, subtle way, of course, is stepping on their task. Everyone has tasks to do in their life. They're like the things that drive your life forward, the things that give your life purpose. Your task might be getting certain grades at school, to get into university. Your task might be training for a marathon. It might be cooking for a large amount of people for a party. These are your tasks. Tasks that you've been set, and if other people interfere in these tasks, you can feel frustrated, you can feel a bit trodden on if people don't do it in the right way. Think about the tasks that you have, your life tasks. The things that you not just enjoy doing, but the things that you relate to being very important to moving your life forward. And these things need to be done by you. If they're not done by you, then you don't learn from them properly. You can end up resenting other people or resenting yourself for not doing these tasks. It sounds strange, but it is actually someone else's task to dislike you, if they do dislike you. And if you're trying to change the fact that they dislike you, you're trying to change their task. You'll find you have so much more time and energy in your day if, instead of worrying about how other people perceive you, you actually just focus on your tasks and you see what people come into your life from that. People tend to be so much more likable if they're the kind of person that's focusing on their own tasks. It can sound like quite a selfish way to be, but people are attracted to people who are focusing on their own tasks. Instead of telling other people how they should do something, you offer them help and encouragement to do it. You offer them help for them to achieve their tasks. You don't try and do their tasks for them. And people are then on a level playing ground. They're on a relationship which is level. Because if you try and tell someone how to do something, then they can feel like you're trying to exert power over them, and you're causing a hierarchical relationship where you're up here and they feel below you. Now, be nice to people, absolutely be nice to people, but focus on yourself, your self-progression in every situation, and your own tasks that you are here to do. And go forward knowing the fact that people will dislike you. Regardless, people are gonna dislike you. And if you try harder and harder to make everyone in the world like you, more people are going to dislike you, because you'll know about more people disliking you. If you live your life being nice to people, of course, but focusing on your own tasks, you're probably never going to know when people do dislike you. And you'll feel like people don't dislike you because you don't really give a shoot about it. Being disliked actually streamlines you. It lowers the amount of people that you need to focus on in one day. Often when people don't like themselves, it's because they're busy trying to be so many different versions of themselves for other people, that when they come back and they're not around other people anymore, they question who they truly are, what version of themselves they are, and they're not really used to being the version of themselves that they're destined to be, their favourite version of themselves, which is right here, right now. Understanding that being disliked is not a scary thing and it is inevitable, I think it can make you more often feel like yourself, which is only a good thing, because then you offer yourself practice. Like throughout the day, how often do you think you are truly yourself? Half the day? A quarter of the day? Only an hour in the day? Probably a short amount of time that you'd like it to be. But you can turn that round and you can make that 100% of the time, knowing that you will not be disliked more, you'll probably be liked more. Right, so thank you for watching this video, and please join the Joy Club if you haven't already. Subscribe to Your Mindful Guy, and I'll be back super soon with more videos. Take care of yourself. Bye bye.